They were so scared, they decided to follow the path back home. They went back home following the bread trail and climbed back into bed before their parents ever realized they were gone. In the morning, Hansel and Gretel were talking to each other. Was it real? Was it a dream? Maybe they should go explore again that night. And so they had made a plan. They had done all their chores early and told their parents they were going to bed early as to not have to worry for dinner for them that night. But in secret, they had taken the loaf of bread once again and was going out onto a wonderful adventure to see the gingerbread house. So, once the sun had set and the parents had gone off to do their nightly chores, Hansel and Gretel took off into action. They left their breadcrumbs in a nice little pile on the way back home. And surely, slowly, but very assuredly, they found the gingerbread house again. This time they were sure it was real, for they had just seen it the night before. So they approached it, and they touched the gingerbread house. There were lollipops and gumdrops, marshmallows and candy of all kinds, even some they had never seen before.
Says Penelope, does it have chocolate?
All kinds of chocolate. Milk chocolate, dark chocolate, white chocolate, chocolate with caramels, chocolate with caramel, chocolate with pretzels. The house was covered with all kinds of candy.
And funnel cakes.
And funnel cakes, which y'all can get courtesy of Hansel and Gretel's sweet shop down the way.
What about mooncakes?
Moon cakes too. Now, with all this candy, they had been so hungry, they started eating the candy off the house.
And there was a witch.
But suddenly, the door started to open. Hansel and Gretel got so frightened, they ran back to the trail. But the ravens and the crows had eaten their bread trail, so they could not find their way home. They turned back to the gingerbread house, afraid of who was coming out. But it was a little old woman. You two don't have anything to worry about, she says. Come inside and I will feed you cookies, pies, funnel cakes, and all the sweet treats you could ever dream of. How could Hansel and Gretel say no to some sweet treats? So the two went inside the house. But they didn't notice that the little old woman locked the door. They sat down on a cookie-shaped table. They could have sworn it could have been a real cookie had they tried to eat it. And the little old lady did as she was promised. She brought cookies and pies and all the funnel cakes the kids could eat.
What about cupcakes?
Eat cupcakes too. All kinds of sweet treats. Everything they could want. If they asked for it, the woman would bring it for them. Do you have ice cream? She would appear with ice cream. Do you have lollipops? She would appear with lollipops. Oh, the sugar rush they had as they filled their tummies with sweet treats. But as quickly as it started, they were growing very tired. Do you have a bed we might sleep in for the night? Why, of course, my dear. I have 2 little beds for you right over here. So the two went to sleep in the nice, handy beds. Gretel woke up with a start as she swore she heard a little laughing. She creaked open the door. She walked down the hall. She peeked around the kitchen corner. And the little old woman had turned into a witch! Gretel ran back to her room and slammed the door shut and hid under her candy covers. And she was shaking, oh, so scared. Suddenly, Suddenly, the witch opened the door. She creeped on in. Handsome, I have a special treat for you. I'm coming. She heard Hansel hop out of his bed and walk with the little old lady, unaware that she was an evil witch. Gretel followed behind them, walking into the kitchen. As she watched, as she threw Hansel into a giant cage, locking him behind her. As she turned and she redisguised herself as the evil witch. You two have fallen into my trap, for I eat little kids. I trick them into eating all of my sweets. I fatten them up, and then I eat them for a dinner. Nom, 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 nom. Gretel couldn't believe her ears. How could she? She seemed so nice and so sweet giving them some food. She came up with a plan. If I can trick the witch, maybe I can help my brother and we can escape. Gretel stood right on up and she said, I require you to eat me. Which was done. Never had she had a child just walk on up and volunteer themselves. Okay. But I think I'm going to have a little fun with you. You are going to prepare yourself for me, and you will help me fatten up your brother so that he may be a lovely meal for me. So for days, she seasoned herself with all kinds of pepper and salt and garlic and all kinds of seasonings, while also feeding her brother all kinds of sweets, watching him get bigger and bigger and bigger, until one day the witch decided it was time. She unlocked Hansel's cage. She took him out. She opened up the oven, which seemed far more cavernous than any oven ever should be. As she was peeking into the oven, making sure that the oven was nice and hot enough for Hansel. Hansel and Gretel rushed up behind her, ran quickly to her, and pushed her into the oven, shut her closed, and killed the witch forever. Hansel and Gretel quickly but surely ran off into the forest, finding their parents again. The father was so distraught, he divorced the evil stepmother, kicked her to the curb, only to find out she was the witch's sister. What a crazy small world.
The witch's sister.
The witch's sister. Now, what do Hansel and Gretel do nowadays? Nobody knows. For stories are them going off and selling the house and making a business fortune and maybe even having a business opportunity. So, if y'all like that story, y'all stop by the Hansel and Gretel Sweet Shop, get some candy of your own, some funnel cakes, and enjoy the rest of your time here at Lanterns. Thank you all so much. I'm going to take about a 10-minute break, and I'll come back and I'll read some more stories for you all. Thank you all so much.